Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Morning rush hour. You are standing on the sidewalk and what you are watching is not traffic. It is a river. A river of motorcycles, 8 million of them registered in that city alone, flowing around buses and pedestrians and street vendors with the fluid logic of water finding its level. 73% of Vietnamese households own at least one motorcycle. The motorcycle is not a hobby, it is how the country moves. Jakarta, Indonesia. 80 million motorcycles nationally, 85% of households. The Gojek app, think of it as Uber but on a motorcycle, handles more daily trips in Indonesia than Uber handles across the entire United States. A country of 277 million people moves primarily on two wheels. Bangkok, Thailand. Rome, Italy. Mumbai, India. Bogota, Colombia. Every major city in the world that is not the United States has a version of the same scene. Motorcycles everywhere. Used by everyone. For everything. Groceries. School runs. Business deliveries. Medical appointments, the motorcycle is infrastructure. Columbus, Ohio. Or Charlotte, North Carolina. Or suburban Dallas. Zero. Or close enough to zero that the contrast is violent. The same sun, the same physics, the same machine. And almost nobody on it. United States, the country that invented the Harley-Davidson, that gave the world Easy Rider, that built the culture that the rest of the planet imitated, has only 14% of its population owning a motorcycle. And that number is falling. In 1990, the median age of an American motorcycle owner was 32. Today, it is over 50. Young riders aged 18 to 24 have gone from 16% of the ownership base to 6%. American teenagers with driver's licenses are now below 40%, meaning the pipeline that used to bring new riders into the culture has not slowed. It has effectively stopped. The rest of the world is riding. America is parking. Here's why. The first reason is the one that nobody in the motorcycle industry wants to say out loud because it implicates decisions that were made 70 years ago and cannot be unmade overnight. America built itself around the car, not around transportation. Around the car specifically, the suburban expansion that happened after World War II, the Levitt towns, the cul-de-sacs, the strip malls reachable only by highway, the school districts designed around car pickup lines, was not designed for motorcycles. It was not designed for buses. It was not designed for any form of transportation that was not a four-door family sedan with a garage to park it in. Vietnam did not build itself around the car because Vietnam could not afford to. When economic development arrived in cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, the infrastructure was not in place for mass car ownership. Motorcycles filled the gap, and they filled it so completely, so efficiently, so naturally, that the infrastructure evolved to accommodate them rather than the reverse. America skipped that phase. The car culture locked in so completely in the 1950s and 1960s that by the time anyone thought to ask whether a motorcycle might be practical daily transportation, the answer was already built into the roads. Highways with minimum speed requirements that exclude small displacement bikes. Suburbs with no shoulder, no lane filtering, no practical advantage for a two-wheeled vehicle over a four-wheeled one. Parking lots designed for cars, where a motorcycle is simultaneously more convenient and more vulnerable. The world does not ride motorcycles because motorcycles are exotic. The world rides motorcycles because the world built itself at a scale where motorcycles make sense. America built itself at a different scale, and the consequence of that choice is playing out right now in dealership closures, aging demographics, and a median rider age of 50 plus. The second reason America stopped riding is money. And not in the way that most people frame it. The conventional argument is that motorcycles are cheap and Americans should be riding more of them. In Vietnam, a Honda Wave, the most common commuter motorcycle in Southeast Asia, costs around $1,200 to $1,500 new. In Indonesia, a similar Yamaha Mio scooter runs about $1,000 to $1,400. These are genuinely attainable prices for working-class families in those countries, even accounting for income differences. In the United States in 2026, the average price to purchase a new motorcycle is just over $12,000. The entry-level Harley-Davidson Sportster starts at approximately $8,000, and that is before you get to the dealership where the finance office is waiting with an alarm system you did not ask for and a warranty that covers nothing meaningful. A new Harley Road Glide, the kind of machine the American motorcycle identity was built around, starts at over $23,000 and regularly leaves dealerships at $28,000 or $30,000 by the time the paperwork is done. New motorcycle prices in America have risen over 40% since 2020. But the price of the bike is not even the most important number. For a rider under 25, motorcycle insurance alone can run over $2,000 per year. Add gear, a real helmet, a real jacket, real gloves and boots at $500 to $1,500 for entry-level equipment. Add the licensing costs and the training course, add the first-year maintenance on a new bike. A $15,000 motorcycle becomes a $20,000 plus first-year commitment before you have ridden it to work a single time. In a country where the average 25-year-old is already spending 30% of their income on rent and carrying student loan payments that the generation before them never had, that calculation does not work. It does not matter how free the road feels. Freedom has to be worth the monthly payment. The rest of the world is not riding motorcycles because they are passionate about freedom and adventure. They are riding motorcycles because motorcycles are the rational economic choice for their income level and their infrastructure. America priced motorcycles out of that category decades ago, and then watched the entire working-class rider base that had built the culture gradually price itself out of the market. Here's where this connects to you directly. If you're riding in 2026, or thinking about getting into riding, or trying to figure out whether the current market makes financial sense, you are navigating the most complicated motorcycle buying environment in a generation. Prices 40% above where they were 4 years ago, insurance costs nobody talks about, OEM tires on new bikes that wear out twice as fast as what you can buy, retail, dealer tactics designed to extract every dollar the pricing model left on the table. The 2026 Motorcycle Buyer's Bible is the document I built specifically for this environment. Every recommendation based on independent data, not manufacturer claims. The tire guide, the gear certification breakdown, the true cost of ownership by model, the dealer scripts, everything. It was $97 when I launched it. Right now it is $9. I'm not going to explain the pricing. If you want the document at $9, the link is in the description. That window does not stay open. Link below. The third reason is the hardest one to explain because it is not written in a law or a price list. It is written in the imagination. In Vietnam, a motorcycle is what your parents rode, what your grandparents rode. The smell of a two-stroke engine on a Hanoi street is childhood. The machine is not a statement. It is not an identity category. It is just how you get to school and how your father gets to work and how everyone you know moves through the world. In America, a motorcycle is a costume. I do not mean that as an insult to the riders who love it with everything they have, and I am one of those riders. I mean it as an observation about what the American motorcycle became over the past 40 years. The industry made a specific choice. When the Japanese manufacturers started eating Harley's market share in the 1970s by offering better engineered, more reliable machines at lower prices, Harley-Davidson's response was not to compete on engineering. It was to compete on identity. You were not buying a motorcycle, you were buying a set of values. Freedom. Rebellion. America. The open road. The working class hero. And it worked. For a while, Harley's management buyout in 1981, the turnaround, the 1990s resurgence, all of it was built on that identity reframe. The bike became a symbol, and symbols have a specific problem. They are expensive to maintain. They appreciate in demographic terms rather than practical ones, and they exclude everyone who cannot afford or does not fit the symbol. The average Harley buyer today is 63 years old. The baby boomer generation that built the culture is aging out. The generation behind them grew up watching their parents get charged $5,000 over MSRP at Bike Week, and treated like an interruption when they walked into the dealership. They watched the culture calcify around a very specific image, a specific body type, a specific income level, a specific aesthetic, and they did not see themselves in it. So they bought sport bikes, they bought adventure bikes, they bought used Japanese machines and learned to work on them in their apartments. Or they did not ride at all. The rest of the world never made motorcycling into an identity performance. It stayed practical. In Italy, the Vespa is fashion, but it is also commuting. In Colombia, the motorcycle delivers your lunch. The machine serves the rider. In America, the rider serves the machine, the image, the lifestyle, the brand mythology. When the mythology gets too expensive and too exclusive, the market shrinks to the people who can afford it. And right now in America, that is what we are watching happen in real time. Let me give you this specific data because the industry would rather you not look at it directly. In 1990, young riders aged 18 to 24 were 16% of all motorcycle owners in America. Today, they are 6%. Riders under 18 were 8% in 1990. Today, they are 2%. Those numbers do not represent a generation that is not interested in motorcycles. They represent a generation that was never introduced to motorcycles the way the generation before them was. The pipeline that used to run from dirt bikes as kids to street bikes as young adults has broken down completely. The dad who used to have a bike in the garage is less common. The neighbor who would take you out on a ride at 14 is less common. The entire informal transmission of motorcycle culture from one generation to the next has weakened to the point where the median rider age has gone from 32 in 1990 to over 50 today. In 18 years, the median age of an American motorcycle owner will be in the mid to late 60s if the trend continues. At some point, that number meets biology. The market does not recover from that on its own. The global motorcycle market, by contrast, is projected to grow from $121.5 billion in 2025 to $178.1 billion by 2035. The world is not falling out of love with motorcycles. America is falling out of love with motorcycles. And those are two entirely different stories with entirely different causes. If you are watching this and you are the rider who stayed, the one who is still riding, still maintaining, still choosing the machine over the car when the choice is available, then you are the person this channel is built for, and you are the person the Bible was written for. Because staying in this market in 2026 requires real information. The OEM tire on your new bike was spec'd by a manufacturer who gets paid by the tire company, not by your safety record. The gear certification system was designed by the gear industry. The insurance you are paying for may not cover what you think it covers. The 2026 Motorcycle Buyer's Bible started at $97. It is $9 right now. Every piece of independent testing data, every certification breakdown, every negotiation script, every model-specific recommendation in one document for $9. Link is in the description. Same link as before. Here is what strikes me most when I look at the global data. The countries with the highest motorcycle ownership rates are not the countries with the best roads. They are not the countries with the most favorable weather. They are not even the countries with the strongest mechanical cultures. They are the countries where nobody ever made the motorcycle into something you had to earn the right to be. In Vietnam, a 22-year-old woman on a 125cc Honda rides to her job at a tech company in Ho Chi Minh City every morning. She is not performing an identity. She is getting to work. The motorcycle is not a statement about who she is. It is a tool she uses because it is the best tool available for the job. In America, that same 22-year-old looks at the motorcycle market and sees a $12,000 entry price, a $2,000 annual insurance bill, a dealership culture that has spent 40 years telling certain kinds of people they are not the target customer, and an infrastructure that was not designed for the machine she would be riding. She does not ride. And the industry wonders why she does not ride. The answer is not complicated. The motorcycle stopped being a tool and became a symbol, and symbols serve the people who can afford them, not the people who need what the tool could do for them. The 1970s California riders who built this culture rode because the machine was the best answer to their specific situation. The Vietnam veteran who found community in a club in Florida was not performing rebellion. He was finding belonging. The factory worker in Ohio who kept a shovelhead running through sheer mechanical knowledge was not buying a lifestyle. He was developing a skill. The culture those people built was genuine because the machine served a genuine purpose. The culture that replaced it is a consumer product. And consumer products need new customers. And the new customers are not coming. I drive a 2000 Ford Ranger with 340,000 miles on it. I bought it for cash. It is not a statement. It is a machine that starts every morning and takes me where I need to go because I understand every system on it and take care of it accordingly. That is the relationship the rest of the world still has with its motorcycles. Practical. Honest. Based on what the machine actually does rather than what owning it implies about you. America can get back there. I personally think it can, but it requires the industry to stop selling mythology and start selling motorcycles. It requires the pricing to come back to reality, and the closed dealerships and 80,000 unsold Harleys sitting on lots right now suggest that reality is already arriving whether the industry wants it or not. It requires young riders to be welcomed into the culture rather than priced out and condescended out of it. The world rides motorcycles because motorcycles work. America will ride motorcycles again when motorcycles work for Americans again. The 2026 Motorcycle Buyer's Bible is in the description. It was $97 when I launched it. It is $9 right now. If you are riding in this market and you want the independent data, the tire rankings, the gear certification breakdown, the dealer scripts, the pre-purchase inspection checklist, that is the document. $9. Link below. That is the last time I will mention it. Stay safe. Ride smart.